So there are some important considerations that you'll want to take the time before you start writing your resume to think about. So what is the role you're applying for? What is the employer really looking for? What type of company is it? Maybe you want to go and do a little research and learn more about the company so that you can use some of their same language and show that you're a good fit. What is your professional branding going to be? What's your added value that you bring to the employer? What are your skills, competencies, and achievements that align with what you're seeking? What are your unique strengths that you'll bring, again, to the employer? You can hear that I mentioned to the employer a number of times, and that's because your resume really needs to be employer focused. So there's some core content for all resumes. First, there's a resume header. That's your name and your contact information details. Make sure it's in the body of the document and not in the actual header. And that's because applicant tracking systems can cut that off, and then an employer, even if they were interested in hiring you, wouldn't have your contact information. Then there's a summary or branding section, and we're going to be working on this during lab this week. There's an education and training section, and don't forget, every resume tells a story. You'll be adding to your story as you gain more experience in your field, of course. Depending on the story that you need to tell today, though, it's going to dictate the content you need to include. As a student or new grad, your core content will focus on your education. It'll be the most relevant experience that you have, most likely. Then there's your work history or your work experience section. There's also some optional content, and that's for all resumes as well. So you can include licenses or certifications, particularly if they're in line with your new career, language skills or your communication proficiency, computer proficiency, volunteer work that you've done, particularly, again, if it is related. You could include some technical skills. What are the things that you're learning in college that will be really applicable to an employer? And what kind of awards or honors have you received in the past, if you have? So there are three types of resume formats. There's the chronological, the functional, and the combination. The chronological lists your work history in reverse chronological order, so your most recent comes first, for both your work history and your education sections. This style of resume emphasizes employment history. It is the most widely and recognized format. The disadvantage, particularly for a student, is it can emphasize employment gaps, but it can also emphasize lack of work experience in the field. The functional resume focuses on skills and competencies rather than dates and employers. So this is the style you might see with 3 years listed or 2 years listed in the work history section, not the actual dates from 2016 to 2018, for instance. Or there may be no dates at all associated with this style. It can be effective for career changers or recent grads. It can eliminate repetitive information because you're having skills headings and breaking down your skills within that instead of putting it in your work history section. The disadvantages of this style is recruiters and hiring managers don't really like them. And that's because they can hide things. And it does raise a red flag and have them think, what are they trying to hide here? And remember, it's a competitive field out there, and that in itself can get you put in the elimination pile. It's hard to determine when or where accomplishments are achieved. The combination resume is probably my favorite style. It emphasizes transferable skills in a reverse chronological order. It includes the best of both the chronological and functional formats. It is well received by employers, and this style is definitely suitable for recent grads or students if you're going to be seeking summer employment and you still have another year or two left in your program. The disadvantage of this style is it can be lengthy, not usually for students though, and it can be hard to maintain consistency of skills in headings, as you do have to come up with headings in order to break down your skills. So, having said that, I'm going to now give you your take action assignment for this week. So there's 2 questions. The first is, what are the 3 different types of resumes, and which style is best for you? I'm going to repeat that. What are the 3 different types of resumes, and which style is best for you?